What's up, guys? Jeff from Sorta Healthy here. Today we're back to talking about the subject that continues to perplex most personal trainers. Programming. How do you design programs that, one, keep clients engaged so they keep coming back for more and keep paying you that sweet cash money. Two, help clients to feel stronger and more capable in their daily lives. And three, most importantly, get them to their desired goals or outcomes. It can be tricky to pull these three things off at once, but over the years I have developed systems that make this process simple and just as important very quick. You see, as you become more successful as a trainer, the thing that starts to disappear is you. Well, really your time. To make things worse, you don't get paid for that programming time, at least typically you don't. The real money is made when you're actually training clients. So I'm going to walk you through how you should be programming for any client. I know that title is a little controversial, we'll talk more about that soon, but in teaching you how to program simply, quickly, and effectively, we'll be using the workout chart here, which is the same one that I use in my own studio, Commence Fitness Personal Training. You can download this chart 100% for free at sortahealthytrainered.com. Okay, it's actually 99.9% free. You guys know how I roll. All I ask is that you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. That support really helps us out here and allows me to keep making free content for all of you. Thank you so much for that support, everyone. I really appreciate it. So our client for today is an average, everyday person. She's 35, has worked out a little bit over the years, but has never been consistent, and she's looking to lose, in her own words, a little bit of weight. She's not sure exactly how much. She'll know it when she gets there, and she wants to get a little stronger, more toned, and to feel better while she's running. Also, possibly most important of all, she needs our assistance as her coaches to help her get into a routine and to stay on track. She knows she's not going to show up unless she has the appointment time, and of course, that's where we come in. We'll be waiting for her with a routine that's ready to go. So right after we sign her on as a client, get some baseline measurements, and start rolling into her sessions, things start to look a little like this. So we kick off her first session with a dynamic warm-up. I should mention here that our client, will call her Alexis. No, actually we'll call her Alexa. That's way different. Well, Alexa has no injuries or limitations, but she's what my staff and I like to call a funky mover. Once she's practiced an exercise a few times, she's usually okay, but getting those movement patterns down initially is tough. Anyways, in this first session, we'll be doing a little bit of everything, so the warm-up should reflect that. She's going to foam roll the hamstrings 5 or 6 times, moving slowly from just above the back of the knees up to the top of the hams where the hips start. Second up, we have walking quad stretches. We're looking for about 10 per side. And then right after that, she's going to do some bodyweight squats, approximately 10 reps, really taking her time with each one. Speaking of squats, right after this dynamic warm-up, we are going to move to our first exercise, the goblet squat. This is pretty much my go-to variation to get people comfortable with the movement pattern. As you can see here, she's holding on to a 15-pound dumbbell, focusing on her form as best as she can. I'm giving her my usual cues: shift your weight back onto your heels and hips like you're about to sit in a chair, etc. If she were a little less capable, I would probably have her squat to a bench before this, but she's doing well. Her next exercise is the cable pull-off press. Getting the core fired up a bit early on is a good idea, but most core work will happen at the end of the workouts since it is accessory work and we want to focus on the bigger compound lifts early. So we are going to superset these two exercises, squats and the pull-off press, and we're going to do 12 reps of each. I guess technically we need 12 reps of the pull-off press on both sides, so I guess 24 there, and we're going to do 3 sets of each one. If it wasn't clear here on the exercise chart, you have a brief description of the exercise, you have the weight, then you have the reps, and then you have the number of sets. Typically you would print this chart off and write on it like you see me doing now, but I'll show you everything going forwards being typed out since that will be easier for you all to read. My handwriting sucks. Anyways, we have our dynamic warm-up, and then like we said, we are supersetting goblet squats and the cable pull-off press, which we can see down here, 3 sets of both of those two movements. And then right after that, we're moving on to dumbbell bench press. I'm demonstrating everything before she does it. She's a noob, relatively speaking. She hasn't done any real exercise in about a year, but even if she weren't, it's still good to demo everything unless it's someone who you've been working with for a while. Anyways, dumbbell or DB bench press, as it is notated here on the workout chart, we're working with two 15-pound dumbbells. I'd estimate these are are a little light for her, but we're still perfecting her form and we can bump the weight up as we go if it makes sense. Then she's doing this back to back with seated cable rows. Of course, she is supersetting both moves. Along the way, I'm communicating with her quite a bit. I'm asking the best training two-part question: how did that exercise feel? Easy, medium, or hard? I'm using her response to that to gauge whether or not the exercises are challenging enough. We want some mediums, one or two hards, almost no easies to this question, by the way. After that, we have some accessory movements, dumbbell bridges being one of them, and dumbbell bridges are arguably not an accessory movement because there really is a lot going on there. Anyways, she's using a 35-pound dumbbell. She's going to be pausing at the top of that bridging motion, and then she's going to be coming slow on the way down, so slow on the way down for that eccentric portion. And this variation is really good for beginners. Really, it's good for everybody. It's especially good for beginners because they have a tough time engaging their glutes, and this version just helps out with that. And then alongside these bridges, we're going to be supersetting that with these bicycle crunches that we can see down here. Hey, she's on the mat already, might as well throw these in. It's a good core move. Most female clients appreciate a little extra core. We're completing 3 sets of both and then wrapping the workout up with a curl and plank combination. Planks are so-so, maybe even kind of bad for intermediate to advanced lifters, but they're useful for beginners, which Alexa is. Anyway, she's curling 2 12-pound dumbbells, as we can see here. She's doing that for 12 reps and 2 sets, and she's supersetting that with planks off of the elbows and forearms. 60 seconds is what she can pull off at this point, pretty good for a beginner, and she's doing that for 2 sets as well. Again, back and forth with these curls. After that, we do some partner assisted stretching. This ups your value a lot, and it's pretty damn easy to throw in there. We've got a hamstring stretch on each side for 20 to 30 seconds on each leg, a hip or pigeon stretch, again 20 to 30 seconds on each side, and a QL, quadratus lumborum, or low back stretch, again 20 to 30 seconds per side. Now Alexa's training with us 2 days a week, so we're gonna be sticking with 2 total body workouts as opposed to a more advanced split. If she were training with us more often, maybe 3 times a week or more, then we could play around with her splits, but for 2 times a week, yeah, total body is most likely going to be the best option. She's also a beginner, and other splits could be more useful with advanced lifters. Anyways, Alexa's programming, though very basic and beginner friendly, wouldn't be drastically different from an advanced client's, even one with different goals. Of course, there will be some differences, which we'll dive into soon, but let's break down Alexa's routine a little bit more first. So our second workout is taking place 3 days after the one we just did. She's had a few days to recover, which isn't necessary, but not a bad thing either. So in thinking about what should be programmed onto this chart, it's always important to think about the foundational movement patterns that we should try to have most everyone do weekly. Horizontal presses like bench press and push-ups, overhead pressing, horizontal pulls like rows, vertical pulls like pull downs, hip hinging movements like deadlifts, and knee dominant lower body moves like squats or lunges. Again, in any given week, you should be having your clients do these foundational movement patterns unless injury or something else prevents them from doing so. So in session number 1, we got the knee dominant. Technically, we got a hip dominant here with the bridge, but we could probably do even better than that. We got a horizontal press with the dumbbell bench press. We got a horizontal pull with the cable rows. And then we got a good handful of accessory moves too. Exercises like the torso rotation or the Palloff press and anti-rotation are also really good to try to get into clients' routines at least once a week. They help build core stabilization and power transfer throughout the body. So looking at this list, we should probably have another hip hinge since bridges aren't necessarily the best at hitting the entire posterior chain. We need an overhead press, a pull down, and then I think another knee dominant move like a lunge or a split squat would also be good. We want to expose our client to these early since they'll be a part of her routine going forwards. So once we have those foundational compound exercises programmed in, we want to make sure to include some accessory lifts that we think will benefit our client as well. So after the dynamic warm-up consisting of leg swings, walking hamstring scoops, and some foam rolling of the back and hams, I have my client kick things off with torso rotations. She's keeping her arms straight, rotating mostly at the hips and waist, so she's firing her core, really her entire body. She's got 30 pounds on the cable, and she's doing 12 reps on each side. After that, we're moving to Romanian deadlifts with 2 15-pound dumbbells. Just like with the bench press, we're starting things things off a little bit light, I want to make sure her form is good. Just like with anything, I demo the exercise before she does it. I explain that she needs to keep her back flat, abs tight, squeeze her butt muscles, and push her hips forwards after she feels a stretch in the back of her legs at the bottom. She's looking good here. I only have minor critiques for her along the way. Keep your shoulders back, be careful not to round your back, etc. Right after the RDL, I say, good job, where did you feel that exercise the most? No right or wrong answer to that question, just curious. Now I'm asking her that because I want to make sure she's feeling this in her hamstrings and glutes, and not a ton in her lower back. Luckily, she says it's all good. She feels the hams and glutes doing their thing with little to no lower back involvement. If that wasn't the case, I would want to make sure that she's really squeezing and firing her glutes at the top, so I'd tell her to focus on that a little bit more for next time. Anyways, 3 sets of torso rotations and RDLs, then we'd get to overhead press and pull downs. Again, 3 sets of both, supersetting as we do. Then we've got bodyweight split squats and overhead tricep extensions, 3 sets of both, of course, supersetting. Now let's say we're a little ahead of schedule and I know I'm gonna have some extra time, so I have her do 2 rounds of dead bugs and stability ball hamstring curls, both worthy additions to today's workout. If you know you're gonna have some extra time towards the end of your session, put in some extra accessory work. Core work is usually my go-to. Anyways, after those 2 moves, we're gonna do 2 sets in a row of the plank drag, so not supersetting, where she's dragging a dumbbell back and forth 30 times, and that's gonna wrap up the day. We then do some assisted stretches. She tells me her arms are toast, so we do some upper body stretches and a little massage gun work on the upper traps, delts, and really just most of the back. She's feeling good after a tough workout. We're keeping things fun. I'm asking her good questions about her life, cracking jokes, keeping things as entertaining as I can. So I think it's pretty obvious that your tone and demeanor will change a fair bit depending on the type of client that you're working with. Despite that, it's incredibly important to be super positive and empathetic at all times. Let's take a quick glance at next week. Things shouldn't be too different here compared to the week we just did. We're still trying to get these movement patterns done and planning accessory moves around those things. It's always good to include at least a few accessory moves that you think will be specifically beneficial to the client. Alexa told me she's insecure about the backside of her arms, so we're going to be doing a little extra triceps work every week. Also, she wants to get to running again, so extra glute medius work for knee stabilization is a good call too. Each week we'd progress things a little bit. Add a little weight here, add a rep or 2 there, change up the variations of different exercises to keep your client engaged, since they probably get bored of exercise pretty easily. And this is where I'm going to reveal the big secret to all of you. Granted, it's not really a secret at this point. An advanced client's workouts wouldn't actually look all that different compared to this beginner client's. Before you come at me, let me explain that. Instead of goblet squatting, maybe they're barbell back squatting. Instead of doing RDLs with 2 15-pound dumbbells, they're probably using something much heavier, likely a barbell. In reality, the advanced client is probably lifting significantly more weight for pretty much every lift. Also, instead of doing a movement like bridges on the ground, they're probably doing hip thrusts off of a bench. So more weight, more challenging variations, and there's a good chance the advanced client is going to move at a bit of a quicker pace, so probably an extra accessory move or 2. That said, between the 2 clients, the beginner and the more advanced client, the movement patterns are either going to be very similar or exactly the same. So Super Alexa, she's just a strong, advanced version of the previous one. Her 2-day split would probably look like this. It's almost the same, just with heavier weight, harder variations, and probably a little bit of extra accessory work. Maybe we'd throw her a 4th or even 5th set of certain moves too, depending on her goals. Now if you train Super Alexa, even Basic Alexa 3 times a week or more, at 3 or more training days a week, total body workouts are still great, but push-pull leg splits are good too. The upper body, lower body, then total body can be a really good 3-day split as well. You could even do some old school bodybuilding splits if you wanted, though I rarely find these useful with clients. My recommendation, unless the client is advanced or coming in 3+ days a week, stick with total body. Even if they're advanced or coming in a lot, total body could still be the best option. No matter what, you should be focusing on these things in particular when programming. 1, their goals. Throw in some goal-specific work for them and include some accessories that directly affect goal areas. 2, consider these patterns. Have clients do them all at least once a week. More is even better. If they're injured and they can't do one of these, figure out something else instead. 3, switch up variations, but not too often. More serious lifters probably won't care about mixing it up too much. They'll just want to get in and crush some weight, but most people won't be that way. Most clients want a fair bit of variety in their routines since they don't like to work out. Now, are there outliers or people who should be trained very differently? Sure, certain athletes require more specific work. I mean, even they could fit into the framework we just broke down. They would just need other stuff in addition to all of that. Of course, fitness competitors would also require more focused training. Everyone else, though, what we went over today is how you would handle them. Anyways, agree or disagree, make sure to let me know down below in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think as well. Want to use my chart just shown in the video? Again, it's free, so that's cool. You can get that here. Just make sure to like the video and subscribe on your way out of here because that allows me to keep giving all of you guys all this fun free stuff. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, stay sorta healthy.